Hi guys, I'm Coach Adrien. As always, I am excited to have you view my video. Let's talk about people. Let's talk about society, about social relationship, diversity, bonding, brotherly love, our global family. What can we do about the underlying perception that divides us as a people? What about the hate that divides us and threatens to destroy us as a people? What about the perceived fear of one race ruling over another? The fear of one race displacing the other? And how can we extinguish the fire of violence across countries, even among the so-called godly population? Do you know that hate crime is on the increase? The Guardian of 4th August 2019 reported between 2011 and 2019, more than 175 non-white immigrants around the world were killed by white extremists who perceive non-white immigrants and refugees as invaders and posing an existential threat to the white race. The targets of deadly attacks have included Muslim worshippers at mosques in Canada, Britain, and New Zealand, Black Americans in church, Jewish Americans in synagogues across the United States, and left-wing politicians and activists in the US, the UK, Greece, and Norway. The problem is, while we are struggling to overcome racism in our global community, the religious community, the role model as perceived, continues to struggle with different manifestations of entrenched social prejudice. Did you know that Sunday morning has long been known as the segregated hour in American religious life, when many Black and white Christians worship the same God in separate sanctuaries? That is true. Yes, only 1% of white Christians worship in a racially mixed or predominantly African American church. Here is the divide. Modern Christianity is no longer attractive. Much of what passes for Christianity offends the new generation and repels rather than attract the sincere seeker. Why is the once fastest growing movement in the world on the decline? Racism, colorism, xenophobia are tearing apart what many call business Christianity, as is the case in society. Congregations across the world are divided along ethnic lines. Racism or prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. And this results in hatred, fear, and inhumane treatment towards worshippers because they are from a different race. What about colorism? Colorism or prejudice or discrimination against believers with a dark skin tone. For example, the pastors and managements are more likely to show preference to a lighter toned black man over a dark toned black man. It is so ridiculous, but this is the reality. Xenophobia or dislike of or prejudice against people from other countries. These believers are oftentimes treated as refugees, unequals. So Christianity is exposed because on the issue of injustice, there is no middle ground. There is no compromise with racism. By choosing not to confront racist ideas from the pulpit, churches choose to protect racism and those who promote it. By not making a courageous choice to confront racism, Christians and Christian congregations are rejecting the values associated with Jesus's elementary form of Christianity. That is the Christianity of the first century AD. Now, the Bible, the Christian manual, teaches that racism, discrimination, and prejudice are all outside of God's design and are sinful. Scripture reveals that God created all people in his image and that he loves everyone equally. There are many verses that show God's impartiality and call us to love and respect one another regardless of race, ethnicity, or social status. Now, this is what the early Christian taught, and that's what they lived. And I'm just quoting Acts chapter 17, verse 26. Here is what it says. From one man, God made all nations that they should inhabit the whole earth. And he marked out the appointed times in history and the boundaries of the land. God made them one blood in his image. There is no exception to that. And being made in God's image makes each person valuable and precious. There is no hierarchy of human beings demonstrated throughout Scripture. That is a lie. But someone is asking, how can one be convinced of the reality of a Christianity devoid of prejudice and injustice when the established churches, church institutions, and millions of followers noticeably and or silently overlook racism, sexism, slavery, exploitation, and ethnic separation? Take an unbiased look at Jesus Christ. I challenge you to take an unbiased look at Jesus Christ, the founder of Christianity. Did you know that Jesus stood against tribalism, racism, sexism, oppression, and injustice? Just allow me to cite just 3 cases from the New Testament. I beg you to read the whole New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and you will get many more cases. But I'm just citing 3. 1, in the case of the woman caught in adultery, the woman was guilty and she was to be stoned to death. Jesus ignored the established male-dominated social system, exposed the obvious gender bias or gender-based discrimination. The man was not accused. The man was not brought forward. And Jesus challenged the sexism that was the order of the day and freed the woman from a horrible death and counseled her, go and sin no more. What is the reality of the encounter with the Syrophoenician woman? Lots of literature, much volumes have been written about that. Jesus's disciple prohibited the woman from seeing Jesus. Of course, a blatant act of discrimination against a different tribe. Jesus acknowledged the social difference, but listened as the woman made her case. And despite the Jewish discriminatory rule or social practice, he showed her mercy. What is the message? The message is very clear. Ethnic or tribal difference does not matter with God. What matters to God is people made in his image. I challenge you to read the whole detail in Matthew 15. But the clincher is Jesus's encounter with the Samaritan woman. In initiating a conversation with the Samaritan woman at Jacob's well and asking her for a drink, Jesus addressed and tackled the prejudice, sexism, and racism prevalent in his time. Jesus taught mankind that true meaning of worship. He taught the true meaning of worship. Worship is not in a fixed place. And he taught the true meaning of worship is a personal relationship with God. I challenge you to read the detail in John chapter 4. Hello. Whoever upholds injustice in any form, man, woman, or child, family, church, or state, is neither from Jesus Christ nor represent Jesus Christ. See that man or church or that movement that preaches, practices, or condones ethnic separation, they are working for Satan. Beware, beware. God's view on injustice is clear. God hates and renounces it because injustice, the ill treatment of others, is akin to murder. And God said, thou shalt not murder. And it destroys the environment. And we always end our clinic by reminding ourselves of the two principles that help us make happy choices. The first one is from William Penn. Wrong is wrong, even if everyone is doing it. Right is right, even if no one is doing it, and the other one is like it. Truth is truth, even if no one believes it. And a lie is a lie, even if everyone believes it. And we always finally end with our word to the wise. Our word to the wise comes from the prophet Isaiah. The prophet Isaiah charges us to work for a society whose foundation is just. And this is what he said in Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17. Learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take the cause of the fatherless, plead the case of the widow. For more information, guys, visit my website, www.goadriens.com. Look out for a new video posted on my YouTube channel, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter on the first day of each month. Connect with me via WhatsApp or mobile, 869-668-9752, or via email, peter@goadriens.com. As I always ask you, subscribe, like my video. When there is love, the love of God that never fails, hate never exists, and racism can never divide us. Thank you.